and welcome to episode 25 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda. I am known as YarnderWoman on both Instagram and Ravelry, and today is Monday the 20th of July 2015, and as always I'm coming to you from Perth in Western Australia. I am very happy to see all of you. It's been a couple of weeks since I recorded and I've been really looking forward to it for two reasons. One, not to do with the podcast so much, but it's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm excited to be recording the night before because I've got the day off, so that'll be very exciting. And two, and the reason that is exciting for all of us, is it is the 1 year Podiversary of the YarnderWoman podcast. Yay! Happy yes! Thank you to everyone who has joined me on this journey, if we can say it that way. I was getting a bit emotional. I was writing up my show notes and I was thinking how much this podcast has brought to me. I'd already made a lot of friends through other podcasts, through Ravelry, Instagram, and that's fantastic. And this podcast has strengthened those friendships, but it's brought me so many more as well. And it's overwhelming, really. I can't believe it's only been 1 year. It feels like it's been a part of my life for so much longer. And I'm so very grateful to all of you for joining in and becoming part of this community with me. And it's really quite an emotional thing. It's the generosity of all of you in taking the time to watch me. I record here on my own, and you take time out of your very busy lives to watch me, which is just so sweet. To taking time to comment on the forums on Instagram, and even some people send me gifts, which is totally unnecessary, but so generous. And everyone's just so generous of spirit, and it's just so wonderful. I can't thank everyone enough for being here with me. And sorry, I'm stammering, but it is it's really, really, as Michelle from Actually Knitting says, #because of knitting. I've got this podcast and I've gained so much from it, and I hope that you all feel you've got something from it as well, because I hope this is a two-way thing. Absolutely. It's especially wonderful, like it is at any time of life, any part of life rather, to have this wonderful interaction. But the last couple of weeks, my resilience to life has been a little bit lower than normal. There've been a few stressful things happening in my family. I won't go into details because it's not my business to talk about. Some health concerns with some family members and other not so fun stuff, that added onto the general stresses of life have been really tough. But as you probably can tell from me, I try to stay positive about things. That's not to say that people can be positive all the time and that I'm in any way saying just chin up. That's not what I meant at all. But the point I'm trying to get to, very rambly, is that having this podcast and all the wonderful people that are a part of it has really helped me through some of those tougher times, just by giving me a bit of an outlet and a little bit of something nice in the day. So thank you all again. It's awesome. Let's get on with the rest of the show. Though we will be having some Podiversary prizes, so we'll get to that in the prize section. But for now, let's go and broach the subject. So today my brooch is a Triceratops skeleton, of course, naturally. I will have to chase up the name of the seller who made this. It was one that I got at a previous comic convention, either last year or the year before, and she was an Australian maker, but I didn't have the details with me handy. So if I can find them, I'll put them in the show notes for sure, and I'll definitely try and get that for you in case you're interested in getting one. Triceratops has always been my favourite dinosaur, and that is the reason for the prompt for our 1200 member giveaway that is happening at the moment. So I'll talk more about that in the prizes section. But my little nephew Liam loves this because he's of course dinosaur obsessed. And he's always asking me, Auntie Minda, except for Triceratops, which is your favourite dinosaur? Because it's a very important question that we all must consider. I have not one but 2 finished objects today. It's really good because for a little while I was knitting on so many different whips that nothing felt like it was getting done, and I started to think I'd never have an FO segment again, but here we are. The first winner of this FO thread is the Magic Cake Ruffle Shawl. So that is a pattern by Paula Emmons-Beasley, and it involves making a magic cake, which is getting lots of different scraps of various weights, magic knotting them together, making them into one cake. So the lovely Julia, 9crafty11, who spoils me rotten, and you'll see even more things from her in the acquisition segment, made me a magic cake in the YarnderWoman colorway, especially for me, with all the beautiful colors that she chose. So I will hold it up. I'm going to have to sort of take it off camera so that you can see it all because it's so big. Look at that. Didn't she do such a splendid job of the yarn choices? So as part of the pattern, it's a paid for pattern. It outlines how much to put in of the various colors, but then your bind off yarn is not included in the magic cake, so I was able to choose that. So I did, as you can see there. Oh, and there's a lovely piece of YarnderWoman hair on it. So just pull that off. I chose, this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Victorian Gothic colourway, and I thought that was a really good match because it's sort of got that tonal blacky greyness, and that went really well. This, the last few rows and the ruffle border took quite a while. So you may remember I mentioned last week that for the ruffle border, you double your stitches, and the pattern says, so you now have over 700 stitches on your needles. Oh, it felt like it. And you also do a ribbing for some of it, so 1 by 1 ribbing. Very tiring. Oh, but I got there. And Julia, you'll get there too. Julia's a couple of rows off her bind off. It's so beautiful. Like the yarns, they're all different types, but they're all squishy. As you can see, I chose to do some in stockinette and some in garter stitch for the different colours. And before I blocked it, I just held it in my wingspan, and it was just about exactly my wingspan. I'm 156 centimetres, which I believe is 5 foot 1.5 in imperial. But now that I've blocked it, it's much longer than my wingspan. I haven't actually measured it, but yeah, it's definitely grown to an even bigger size. So it's just wonderful. It's great. I haven't actually worn it yet because I only just finished it the other day. But yeah, I can't wait because we've had some very chilly weather lately, and it's going to be fabulous. So yes, I definitely recommend that pattern. It's really great fun. Julia actually said she thought it would be fun if we did a magic cake swap. So my voice went so high there, swap. So yeah, let me know in the thread for this episode if you'd be interested. So how it would work is people would sign up saying yes, they're willing to make a magic cake, and then I could pair people up, and then you could talk to each other to work out colours and all that sort of thing. So it would be not a secret swap, but one where you are conversing with your partner. So yeah, let me know if you'd be interested in that, and I'm more than happy to set it up. We can have a thread where people can sign up and that sort of thing. But yes, I really recommend it. This will also count for the Pal Cowl 2015. So mentioned Michelle earlier from Actually Knitting. So the Pal Cowl is the podcast along knit along, where you can use a yarn and or pattern or project bag or stitch markers from a podcaster. So this pattern by Paula Emmons-Beasley. Paula does the Knitting Pipeline podcast, so that will count. So loving that finished object. And my second FO is my Pebble Beach Shawlette. Isn't this pretty? I only finished this last night, so it's very new. I was very happy it was dry from being blocked. So this is knit with very colourful yarning, and it's a yak, silk and wool blend. And this was one that I was sent to review the yarn because it's a base that isn't currently carried with the shop, but it's to get my feedback on what I think of it. So I'll be letting them know, and then I'll let you know if they decide to take it on or not. So this pattern is by Helen Stewart, who does the Curious Handmade podcast. So this will also count for the Pal Cowl. And I loved this. I was looking at my Ravelry notes. I started this in April, and then it got put aside for other things. I think for some present knitting, and then because it had been put aside, it stayed aside, and I was so happy to get back to it. It's just a fabulous pattern. I cannot recommend it enough. The lacework is so much fun. It's very easy. I was going to say simple, easy, simple. I mean, there's obviously thought to it and a lot of design, but once you get the hang of it, it's very simple to follow. at least in my opinion. This is the small, the original size, and Helen recently released or updated the pattern with a medium and a large, and I just saw on Danny Little Bobbin's latest episode, she just finished the large in a lace weight, and it's so pretty, and I definitely want to make a lace weight large one. But until then, I have this gorgeous beauty. This was the yarn I got to name the colourway, and I called it Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman, and I thought it looked like her red boots with dust on them from being out in dusty Themyscira. So that's that one, and I'm so happy with it. I highly, highly recommend this pattern. There we go. Oh, heavenly. I have quite a few works in progress because despite finishing those couple of shawls, I then started some new projects, so my numbers are now balanced out again. I was listening to the latest episode of Prairie Girls Knit and Spin, and Prairie Girl Susie was saying she seems to have gotten off track from Stash Dash, where instead of finishing things to get the yardage that she'd already knit, she'd started casting on a whole lot of new things, and I'm definitely there at the same place. So my first object is a shawl pattern, and it is called Sailing, and it's by the lovely Meg of Atelier Yarns. This is the pattern here, knit up in 2 different weights. I believe this is a DK and this is a fingering. Meg ever so kindly gave me the pattern as a present, and it was very, very nice of you. Thank you, Meg. And this is how much I've done. So even though I said I started it, but I haven't done too much, but this is the gorgeousness. So this yarn is missing its tag, so I can't show it to you. It is Jinx Single Merino, so Jinx yarn. And the colourway is Blood Plus, which I believe is possibly a gaming reference. I'm not sure. But, oh, heavenly, heavenly, heavenly colours. You can see it's got the cream base, and then it's got bright red, it's got some sort of muted reds, and then the gorgeous grey. Oh, it's gorgeous. I really love it. And after knitting with some single merino, what was it? I think it was a knit night shawl that I made for my cousin, the black and red one. That was also the same base, Jinx Merino. I loved knitting with that, and it made such a squishy shawl. So that was what I was aiming for when I was trying to choose a yarn of this pattern. I thought I want one of my single merinos. So really loving that. I'll get a bit more into this now that I've finished off those other 2 patterns. That is living in my project bag from the wonderful Sunshine Yarn Fun. Is it there? This is the one I showed you last week in acquisitions, so this was so kindly given to me. And Sunshine Yarn Fun is also one of the sponsors for our knit-along that we'll talk about a bit later. So there's that one. And next up in my Stitched by Jessalou Vintage Witch bag, this is my Whiz Bang socks by the lovely Mrs. Shu, who is one half of the Inner Snip podcast. So these will also count for the Pal Cow. So I'm a little bit further along. I haven't done a lot of work on these, and you'll note I've also given myself another design feature here where I repeated a row instead of going on to the next pattern row, but I don't mind because I did that at the beginning as well. So I figure I'll just, I've got blocks. It's fine. This is in One Twisted Tree yarn, and I do have that tag. So One Twisted Tree, the 93 Diagon Alley colourway for the Harry Potter reference, and very much enjoying those. Again, I think because I'm close-ish to where the heel is, not really, but because I'm close-ish, I didn't take it out as my commute knitting because, in my head I was suddenly going to be a speed knitter and get to the place where I needed to do the heel in 5 minutes, when of course it'll take me a lot longer, but the worries of being a speed knitter all of a sudden means I didn't take them out with me. So I will work on these at home and get the heel in, and then I'll be able to progress up the leg of that sock. And the other sock I have on the needles was almost a hoe, but I'm going to have to rip back the toe. So this is my White Birch Fibre Arts yarn in the colourway Killer Bee. I think I forgot to mention the colourway name last time. So it's Killer Bee, like K-I-L-L-A-H, Killer. But I got it because it's sort of Batman colours, and I started this sock to take with me to the Supernova Comic Convention because it was Batman colours and because I was wearing my Batman dress on the first day. So one must always match the knitting when possible. So this one I did on a 2mm needle, and I did quite a few extra stitches, and I do really like the stitch, the density of the fabric. I think it's coming out very nicely. But what that meant is I was getting ready to start the toe at around the same place I normally would, and then realised, well, I've got a lot more stitches on each needle than I would usually have. Therefore, if I did the normal amount of decreases I would do, it would be too long. So that meant I started decreasing more rapidly, but then I ended up running out of room. And then I was like, I'll just knit some extra stockinette rows when I'm at the end. No, it's not working. So I'll just rip back the toe. And usually ripping things back annoys me, but in this case I had this zen feeling because this is part of my sock experimentation where I'm trying to find the right number of stitches, the right needle size for different types of yarn to find the right socks for me. So as part of that zen understanding, I was like, well, they're an experiment, and this was my hypothesis about the toe. It did not work, so it's not a fail. I proved my point, and now I will start a new experiment. So yes, hopefully I'll have some more of those done. This one I've been working quite a bit on, and I showed it to you last week as an intended width, and it's the Trickle Shawl, and that is by Jennifer Lassonde. She's Boston Jen, so again, this will count for the pal count. This I am knitting in No Makers yarn in the Harley Quinn colourway, who we all know is my favourite, as well as YarnderWoman. But she's got my colours, black and red. So it's a little bit hard to see because it's squished up on the needles, but let me try and pull it out a bit. It is beautiful. So this is the pattern section here, the trickle that the pattern title relates to. And yeah, this is so squishy. It's just so squishy. So the base, I might have flipped that off too quickly, sorry. It's the Fancy Gnome base, it's DK, and it's 80-10-10, merino, cashmere, and nylon. So it's very luxurious and squishiness. I started this shawl a week ago, and I started it with the needle size recommended in the pattern. And this was one of the days, you know, it was a bit going on in life, so I was like, you know, I just wanted something nice, I'll start this shawl. And so I wasn't really thinking about it because I'm quite a tight knitter, so I often have to go up a needle size, but I started on the recommended size and did, maybe that much. And then thought, it's not that floppy a gauge. So I thought I'll just go up one size, not rip out that bit, just go up one size and, it'll block out. Going along, holding it up to the light, going, oh yes, you can see more through the stitches, so that must be a much looser gauge. Kept going. And then started having that niggling feeling of, I don't think this gauge is right. It's sort of standing up by itself. So then I'm, holding it on the needles going, no, it's fine. Knit. Yeah, I got up to about 40 rows and then went, let's admit it, it's not the right gauge, rip it out. So why do we do that to ourselves? Do we just keep going? But anyway, I sort of slept on it, and the next morning I was like, no, that's fine, I'm okay about it. So I ripped it out, and I'm so happy that I did. So I think I've gone up, 1, 2, 3, about 4 needle sizes to get the gauge. So it really shows how different gauge can be for different people. It's quite fascinating. Annoying when I don't remember that, but fascinating nonetheless. So I love the gauge that I'm getting. It's given it a lovely drape. It is super squishy, and I'm really enjoying it. I think, because the pattern gives you numbers of rows to do or percentage of yarn, so it depends on what yarn you've got that you can adjust it, so it's really good. So I think the section I'm on, at the end of that, in about 5 rows time, will be about 70% of the yarn used. So I'm, towards the end of it, and I'm very much enjoying it, and that's going to be really nice for winter. On Saturday just gone, there was a little mini comic convention at one of the sort of more artsy areas in the city, and Damien had a stall there, and I'll tell you a bit more about that and spin me right round. But there were several people cosplaying, and there were a few Harley Quinns, so I got one of the Harleys to hold my Harley yarn. So she didn't quite know why, but she was happy to do it anyway, so that was pretty cool. And that is living in my Batman bag. Very cool, because I thought Batman was the obvious choice out of my bag selection for Harley Quinn. This was given to me by the very generous Yvonne, who is Ganesh on Ravelry. She doesn't have an Etsy store. She's just very kind and generous with her time and her skills. as you'll see further in the acquisition segment. I get to say that a lot today. I'm very spoiled. So this is the Batman bag, and it's got some great little pockets in there that I'm putting the tags in, so that's very cool. And this whip should be finished too, but the knitting is finished, just not the rest of it. This is the pattern Gingerbread Boy. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't believe I have the designer's name here, but you can go to my Ravelry page for it and link straight through. So here he is, or it is, it can be a boy or a girl. This is knit with Knit Picks worsted, and I believe it's called Squirrel Heather. And then this one is by Query Fibre Arts, and it's the All the Crayons in the Box colourway. I use this to make the shell for the knitted snail I made my nephew last Christmas, and I love this yarn. Query is just beautiful. So I cast this little guy on as part of the Fairy Little Twist and Stitch Christmas in July cowl, and that cowl is just, you have to make a gift either for someone else or for you. Doesn't have to be for Christmas, doesn't have to be for anyone else. But I thought it was a good opportunity to start some Christmas knitting. I'm not sure who this is going to yet, because I'm trying to decide if I'll make several of them and, you know, give them all to like the children of one family, that sort of thing. So I'm still working it out, but anyway, I just have to do the face. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like a skirt or a scarf. I haven't decided yet. So I'm just going to do the face and then stuff, and then you just draw the stitches in at the top. So it's very easy. It's all knit in one piece. The only comment I would have on the pattern is when I started, I wasn't really thinking about the construction, and so in the pattern it just says make one stitch, and it doesn't say make one left or make one right. And as it turns out, that part is like a raglan, like for doing a raglan cardigan. So you cast on at the neck, and it actually tells you to cast on and then pick up stitches for the head. But what I did was cast on, and a provisional cast on, onto another cable cord from some interchangeable needles. So it was just the cord. And that was great, because that meant when I was ready for the head, I just knit up. I didn't have to pick up the stitches. And for that reason, I'll be entering this in the cowl that the ladies from Teaching Your Brain to Knit podcast will be having. That's a learn along, because all their podcasts are about your brain and knitting and learning. And fabulous podcast if you haven't already seen it. And they're doing a learn along, so you can enter something where you have done a technique that is new to you. So that would also possibly fit into the opposites cowl that we're doing in this group and with Pink Hair Girl. If it's a technique that's new to you, that's opposite from what you do, you can double dip to the Teaching Your Brain to Knit cowl. But anyway, so this will be my entry, because I learned how to do a provisional cast on onto a cable, which was really cool. So yes, you cast on here, and then you're doing the make one left and rights here for the arms. But again, I wasn't really thinking, so I was just doing them all the same. So you can see, after a while I figured it out and I changed what I was doing. But you can see on both sides, they're a little bit messy. But with this yarn, the colours are so, you know, all over the place, it doesn't matter anyway. And it's for a toy, so I'm really not bothered. But that's the comment I would have about this pattern, is perhaps work out which side is supposed to be make one right and make one left, and it'll just be a bit more seamless in terms of how it looks. But looking forward to decorating that one, and also deciding if I'm going to make any more. I already got all my yarns out, so I was like, oh, this can be the fur, because I was thinking maybe teddy bear instead of gingerbread man, but then I didn't change the head, so it's still a gingerbread man head. But I've got, you know, my body colour and my different jumper colours, so we'll see. It'll be fun. It didn't take too long, but again, you know, why didn't it finish in 5 minutes? Why didn't my new speed knitting kick in? Anyway, so yes, we shall see. And my last whip is a soon-to-be whip. I haven't started it yet, but that's the Typhoon Shawl by Josh Ricks. And this was very kindly given to me by Linda, who's Ging on Ravelry. She sent it along, and I'd only just discovered the shawl a couple of days before. I heard about it on the Stockinette Zombies podcast. And it's a really clever shawl because it uses self-striping yarn, but in a shawl, and uses short rows. I don't want to give anything away, and to be honest, I haven't read the pattern, so I couldn't give it away if I tried. But because the Stockinette Zombies are having a not a sock, self-striping sock yarn knit-along. There's some little funny acronym. So you can enter things where you've used self-striping yarn, but in an item other than a sock. So I'm definitely going to have fun with this one. The self-striping yarn I chose is another one of my white birch fibre arts skein. I love the self-striping yarn because they have the gradation within the colour stripes, and this one is called Emo Enough, which, as well as liking the colours, I just find hilarious because it's so, you know, teenagery. Emo Enough. And then you pair it with a solid colour, and I am using my Woolen Vine yarns. This is the Lush base, and the colourway is Hemingway's Ball. I got this from Kristen a while ago, last year sometime I think. I sent her a message and I said I wanted to get her colourways Poe and Nevermore, and then I said I was interested in a red and what reds did she have, and she dyed me up this one and another red and said, oh, you know, which one would you like? And I was like, give me both. And yes, they've been sitting waiting and I haven't cast them on yet, so I'm very excited to do that. This I balled up a while ago, so I think I'm going to rewind it so that you know, any pulling or anything is taken out. I think they're going to go really nicely together because the tonalness in this, sorry, it's going to be all shadowy because of my music stand. But see how those tones are sort of purpley in colour? So I think, oh, that's really not working, is it? Anyway, I think the tones are going to go really, really well. Let's just leave it at that. So hopefully I'll have this to cast on. The reason I've left this unwound is because I know as soon as I wind it, there'll be no stopping me and I'll be casting it on. And I'm really wanting to get some other things done because there's no knitting police, as Michelle pointed out to me the other day. But if I have too much on the go, then I end up feeling like I was referencing earlier, where I feel like nothing is happening because there's so many things. So of course progress is happening, but nothing's being finished. So I'm going to try. We'll see how we go. But you'll definitely see it cast on next time, I think, because I think I'll definitely cast it on in 2 weeks. I've said definitely a lot, haven't I? So we'll see. Lots of prizes to talk about. We've got our Opposites Cowl that we're having in conjunction with Pink Hair Girl Knits podcast, running until the end of July. So you've got a couple more weeks. Remember that you don't have to finish to be eligible as long as you have come and joined us in the chatter thread. So I'll be drawing prizes from both the chatter thread and the finished objects thread. So if you finish your object, you can enter it in the FO thread. If you're not sure you're going to finish it or you just want to chat anyway, come over to the chatter thread and you'll have a chance there. So the prizes that we have been very generously gifted to us by our sponsors. So first off is Sunshine Yarn Fun. Now this is not necessarily the bag that you'll get. This is the one that was so kindly made for me. And I believe the winner will get to choose, it'll either be from what's in stock or you might be able to choose a custom. I'm not sure, but I will confirm that. But anyway, a great prize from them. There is also a discount code if you just can't wait and you want to go and purchase, because there are a lot of lovely things to choose from. If you enter Knitting South 10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order, so enjoy that. And our second prize, and there's also a discount code for this seller, is Atelier Yarns. So that's Meg, who sent me the sailing pattern, and she also has beautiful yarn. Now this is not the prize one, but this is the same base, and sorry it's in the plastic. This one is in the Jupiter and Mars colorway, and it's sort of a purpley red. The prize skein, I'll put a photo in at the end of this segment, is a overall solid beautiful tonal purple, and this is 100% superwash merino wool light fingering yarn. It's 150 grams with 820 yards, so it's a very generous skein, and I really can't wait to knit this one. I think I have it linked up on my queue with a pattern called Banana Leaf Shawl or something. But anyway, this is my intention for that one, but that is one of the other prizes. We also have some beautiful mini skeins from One Twisted Tree and a copy of the Whiz Bang sock pattern, which is the one I was knitting earlier. And so those are wonderfully exciting, and come and join in the knit along. And in, I don't know when the 31st is, if it's before I'll be recording next. But anyway, so we'll either have the prizes next episode or the one after, depending on when it finishes. So good luck, everyone. We have a 1,200 member prize giveaway thread happening in the Ravelry group at the moment. So exciting. Another example of how awesome it is to have this podcast and have so many of us come together. The prompt for the thread is, what is your favourite dinosaur? So it was appropriate that I was wearing my Triceratops brooch today. That was just pure coincidence. It's just the one I picked up this morning, so it was obviously meant to be. So there's some great answers in there already. Obviously, the prize will be drawn by random number generators, so don't worry if you're not necessarily sure you have a favourite one. It's just funny. It's something fun to do. So come along there and enter. Obviously, you must be a member of the group to enter, 1 entry per person. And as with everything, you need to contact me within 4 weeks after it being announced. I will probably draw this one next episode, so just a couple of weeks for that one. But the prize, it's in the lovely with the ribbon, so I didn't want to take it out of its bag. But this is from Query Fibre Arts. So the little gingerbread man I had, his little shirt was Query. This colourway is Time Vortex, which is a Doctor Who reference. This is very pretty. It's very hard for me to get this away. So come along into that and see if you're the winner. We will also have a prize for our Podiversary, which is very exciting. Knit Run Dig, who are a bag maker on Etsy, they are giving us a prize that we'll draw at the end of August. The prize for that one will either be from a bag in stock or happy to have a custom order as well. And there'll be a shop code, so I'm just reading here. It's Yarnder15. You enter that at checkout and you get 15% off. So for all our discount codes, they're all in the thread on the Ravelry board, which says discount codes for YarnderWoman viewers, I think it is. But obviously all in the show notes as well. So yay, Podiversary and presents. Now, I mentioned just now about you having to contact me within a month of the prize being announced. So way longer than 4 weeks ago, we had a prize draw. Sorry, just check my notes. So the Elegant Economy Pattern Pack, it was the collection of the date night patterns. The person hasn't contacted me who was announced as the winner. The person hasn't contacted me. And yeah, it's been way longer than 4 weeks, and that's just because I mistakenly forgot about it. So I have redrawn that one. So the new winner was post number 7, and that is The Yarn Goes On, who is Lisa Marie from Wisconsin. So congratulations, Lisa Marie. If you would like to send me a private message on Ravelry, and then I can get you in touch with Maria from Elegant Economy and can get those patterns out to you straight away. Here we are arrived at acquisitions. I have not bought too much, but I have been so kindly given a lot of things by a lot of lovely people, so we'll get to those shortly. My first purchase, or my only purchase I should say, was the new pattern, which is called Okanagan Orchard. Sorry, my voice got a bit stuck there. Okanagan Orchard by Marsha of the Fairy Little Twist and Stitch podcast. This is Marsha's new design. Uses lace weight yarn, and it's this sort of cowl, shawl, drapey, beautiful thing. And I think the first object I make from it is going to be a gift for Mum for Christmas. So more on that when I start it. I haven't decided what yarn I'm going to use yet, so that's what the delay is, so I'll get to it. I mentioned earlier I was given the pattern Sailing by Meg and also the pattern Typhoon by Linda. Linda incidentally has been a long-time member of our group, and she won the Gothic Plum sock yarn on one of our knit-alongs earlier in the year, so there you go. And I was also so generously given a pattern called Uncot, which is a hat pattern by the lovely Tammy, who is Girl So Sheepy. The pattern project that's on the sheet is in beautiful red, so I wonder why she thought of me. But I can't wait to make that. I think that's out of a sport weight yarn, so I do have some nice skein sport weight in waiting for that one, so look forward to that. I mentioned earlier that Yvonne, who's Ganesh, who made the Batman bag, is very generous to me and shares her skills all the time. She sent me another bag. She said this fabric made me think of me because of the lovely reds, so I complied there. And she also put some little purple lips because last week I wore purple lipstick, so perfect. So thank you very much for that, Yvonne. So generous.
And this week's Kissing the Subject.
Yes.
YarnderWoman's the subject.
Aww. It's my baby. Bye.
Don't call him baby.
And that was a little cameo from my lovely Damien. He said it was a birthday kiss and he wanted to show you all. So, you may have heard him saying, don't call him baby, because once my little niece Emma was over and I was just talking to Damien and I just sort of called her, oh, baby, would you like a coffee? And she just goes, why do you call him baby? I had to explain it was, a term of endearment. She didn't quite get it. Anyway, I'm all giddy now. An acquisition I got from the lovely Danny, Prairie Girl Danny from Prairie Girl Knit and Spin. We did a little yarn swap for our blankets. She sent me some One Twisted Tree yarn. So one of our prizes for the knit along is some One Twisted Tree mini skeins. You'll get more in this, but she sent me the colours for my blanket and a little badge. Very exciting. And she also sent me some of the other colours, including the black. So I'm sure you're all listening to Prairie Girls Knit and Spin. If you're not, you should be. Danny bought 20 skeins of black yarn to have as her edging for her blanket. And she's since returned some, so I think she's got 10 total. But we were joking about, are you sure you can spare some of the black? Skein Watch 2015 is happening here as well. So as well as all these beautiful minis, she also sent me some chocolate that is long gone and some lovely tea bags. And I've drunk a few of those, but there's still a few left. So thank you, Danny. Julia, 9Crafty11, I mentioned her generosity already earlier. She sent me this wonderful smelling package. I was telling her I wish that there was some sort of smell version on YouTube. I guess in some instances for some people or videos, that's probably not a good thing. So overall, it's probably for the best, but I wish you could smell this. It's this beautiful package of all these natural body products. It's by a company called Willow Tree Lane, who are on Etsy, and they actually are based in Western Australia. They're a couple of hours south of me. So I've got some body butter and hand balm. I always like hand stuff. Julie was so kind. She said that when I was talking about hand creams like several episodes ago, she thought about getting this. You're so kind, Julia, so kind. Some lip balm, and then this is very cool. It's a bath bag. It's all organic, and it's like a tea bag for your bath. So you just pop it in. So cool. Oh, heavenly. I was going to use this on the weekend, but then I ended up not having time. But it's good because now I can show you, and it means I might. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, I can have this tomorrow on my actual birthday when I'm not at work. Again, I am so grateful for my job. I really love my job. I am very happy to have it. I am so also grateful that I don't have to work tomorrow on my birthday. Another hashtag because of knitting. Wow. Dubai Mel on Instagram and Ravelry. She is an expat Australian living in Dubai, and her name's Mel. Very appropriate name. She posted recently on a trip to London. She got some rhubarb tea, and I just made a very innocuous comment also. I thought, that's saying, oh, rhubarb tea, that sounds interesting. And she's, I'll send you some. Give me your address. So kind, so generous. She didn't just send me the tea. So here is all the teas she sent me. This is the rhubarb one, and she sent me some others as well. All her packaging had this awesome stamp, like the Dubai camel. Very cool. Then she sent, I'll show you the whole thing. It came in this wonderful bag. Isn't that good? And as you can see, there's lots of yarn in there. So here I was thinking I was getting some tea and how wonderful that is. And she's just gone over the top. No, naughty. But so cool. Very grateful. This is some Knitting Goddess mini skeins. Very much looking forward to trying that. I've heard of Knitting Goddess on Little Bombins and Little Yellow Uke podcasts. So beautiful, all great for my blanket. There's those couple of balls at the bottom as well. I won't pull them out because I'll make a mess. And then she sent me a birthday present on top because she went and got the info off Ravelry. So sweet. So this is another one I haven't tried before from the UK. I Knit or Die. Ha ha ha. DYE. And it's the Ziggy Stardust colourway. How awesome is that? Sparkle with the purples and the black and the red. Could it get any better? Beautiful red washi tape. And very cool magnetic YarnderWoman bookmarks. And that's the back. Very, very cool. Thank you so much, Mel. You spoil me. And one more, we've got a lot in this acquisitions, and most of them are gifts. Just, as I said earlier, I don't expect anyone to send me presents, but it is so nice when people do. It's so generous. And yeah, completely blown away. But this last one is from one of my non-knitting friends, and she's the one I made the tea cozy for earlier in the year for her birthday. And she said, because she's moved to California, she's from Perth. She often, comes across yarn shops in her travels and sends me a photo. And she said, is there anything I would like from one of them? And I sort of tried to keep it easy. So I said, a sock weight, told her my normal colours, which she obviously already knows, red, purple, grey or black. And then said if it's something locally dyed, that'd be, pretty cool. And she sent me, this is how it came. And I thought, oh, isn't that pretty? So the beautiful grey and purple. And then I, got it out and I was looking at it. And then I saw the tag. It's Madeline Tosh. So how cool is that? That someone who doesn't really know knitting and just kind of went for a guess got Madeline Tosh. Very, very cool. So this is the Tosh sock base. And the colourway is black velvet. And I'll show it to you out of the bag. And she said in her card that the lady at the shop said, would my friend like it wound? And she said, I thought it would be easier. I hope I haven't ruined any of your knitting routine. And I was, oh, goodness, no. Yeah, very, very cool. And it also came not necessarily for this yarn, but there was a free pattern that came with it from Stephen B as well. So very cool. And deep breath. I think that's the end of acquisitions. Thank you, everyone. First thing that spun me right round recently, and I was a little bit late to this party, but the podcast Serial. So that was one where it was looking at a true crime and it was an investigative reporter. I know a lot of people were obsessed with that when it was actually released, which I think maybe was last year, the year before. But yes, very engaging. So I recommend that if you want something interesting. It's about 12 episodes long, so not too much of a time commitment. And yeah, I'm very curious. I want to know, did he do it? Who knows? Something else I've been listening to that also was not very long was The Wizard of Oz, the audiobook of that, and it was read by Anne Hathaway. She was so good. If you see any audiobooks read by her, and that's the only one I've experienced, but I imagine she'd be very good in all of them. She did the voices, the way she conveyed the tone was just a brilliant performance. And I realised I'd never actually read the book, The Wizard of Oz. I'm a big fan of the movie, and in high school I was in the school production of it, which is good fun. But the book is very different actually from the movie. They really changed quite a lot for the movie and the musical version. So that was very interesting. One of the most notable things straight up is that the Witch of the East, who Dorothy kills by squashing with the house, doesn't wear ruby slippers. She wears silver slippers or silver shoes. So the whole way Dorothy is wearing silver shoes, not ruby slippers. So there you go. But yes, had fun with that. I remember I was thinking about this because I was thinking it's very odd I haven't read this book before because I'm, quite a voracious reader. Less so now when I've been knitting, but I'm getting back on board with that with the audiobooks. But I remembered, I think it was year 7, so I was about 12, and I got out the book from the school library, but I never really got into it, so I returned it the following library lesson without having read it. And for some reason, the librarian that week was having a real come down on people not finishing their books. And I remember just feeling horrible because I was thinking, I didn't finish my book. She's telling us all off and I didn't. It was me. Oh. How silly. Mean librarian. Most librarians were nice. She was not. But yes, highly recommend the book either to read or to listen to. And if you can find the Anne Hathaway version, definitely go and get it. I mentioned earlier that we went to a little mini comic convention on the weekend and Damien was vending there. He had a really successful day, which was great. It's really good to get his artwork out there more and more. And this was very, very local, so it was really good to get some more eyes on his work. As part of the day, they had it set up in it's a bar. It's part of there's sort of a pub on one side and then there's a separate area that can be used as a bar, but it was just used for this convention. And they had some speakers talking about various things, and then they had a cosplay karaoke competition where ostensibly people who dressed up, I think they didn't turn anyone away, but that was the pitch for it. And they kept sort of saying, don't forget, come up and sign up. And I thought, they mustn't have that many people. I'll go and put my name down just to, boost numbers, encourage people. So I filled in my slip, and then before I'd even got back to our stall, which was probably only 20 metres away, they're saying, and next up is Melinda. And, oh, okay, so there was no time to panic or worry. I was straight in. The song that I'd chosen to do was It's Oh So Quiet by Björk. And I think I mentioned, last year sometime, that I did that at another public karaoke venue. So I knew I could pull it off in terms of, it was a song I knew, because the first girl who got up and sang, and more power to her, she did really, really well, except it didn't seem she knew her song. So she kept missing the words and stopping and starting, and that made her more nervous and it made it worse, and the poor thing, but she did a very, very awesome effort. But yeah, that was the worst thing you could ever happen in your karaoke, is to not know your song when you get there. So I made sure I knew the song, and it actually went really, really well. And it's really funny, I was talking to my cousin about it afterwards. I didn't feel consciously nervous. I felt confident, I felt happy to do it, but my body internally was nervous because my hands were shaking and my heart was racing. So at first I was holding onto the microphone stand, and then I realised my hand was doing this, so I just took it away and was just, singing that. But it was odd because couldn't work out why it was happening, because I did not feel nervous in my mind. So there you go, a little bit of interest. So there were only about 4 or 5 people who did songs. One guy who was dressed as Ace Ventura did a death metal version of White Wedding. Interesting. And he was really keen to do it. He kept asking when it was going to happen. So at the end, they couldn't decide who was going to win. So they said, okay, dance off between me, a guy in his 50s who'd done a funny version of I Did It My Way, and then another woman who'd done a System of a Down song, which was, no one could really hear because the music was so loud. But anyway, so it was all... So they said we would have to have a dance off. And I was like, are you kidding me? But of course, the 50-year-old guy just started doing all these effeminate, like, go-go dancer moves. So myself and the other one were like, well, he's going to win the dance off. So, yeah. At least it's exercise. That's what I was going with. So yes, he won. I came in second though, so yeah. It's a bit of fun anyway. It's no big deal. But the prize was very cool. They had an artist draw-off during the afternoon. So they asked the crowd, what character should they draw? So they were drawing Hawkman, the DC character. So these 2 artists were drawing, and so it meant the guy who placed first for karaoke got to choose between the 2 pieces, and then I got the other one. So in that respect, I was quite glad I didn't come first, because that meant I didn't have to choose, because I'd feel terrible for the other person. And Damien knew one of the artists, so you know what I mean? And as someone putting their work out there, obviously they're not going to take things personally all the time. You wouldn't be able to operate like that. But at the same time, I wanted to not have to do that. So it worked out really well. So I was very happy with my piece. So I have a piece of original art, so that's exciting. And it was just a really great atmosphere, it was all the pop culture feel. As I said, I got Harley Quinn to hold my Harley Quinn yarn. And that was really nice. And then later that night, Damien went out with some friends, and Sophie and I had a girls' night at home, and we watched some DC animated movies. So we kept in the pop culture theme while I was knitting on my Harley Quinn yarn. It was great. So very nice weekend, and a very fun event too. And with that, I will say goodbye for another episode. Thank you very much for joining me. Go along and enter all the prizes. We've got the opposite's cowl if you're knitting along, but prizes for prizes' sake. We've got the 1200 member giveaway, as well as the Podiversary prize. So go and do that. I might even put another prize thread up, I think, because I'm so full of gratitude for the podcast, for all of you. And it's my birthday, so I'll give a present back to all of you. So don't know what it'll be yet, but go and check it out. There'll be another prize thread there, and I'll have a photo of whatever the winning joy will be. So So I'm going to go and have a nice cup of tea, I think, and relax in the knowledge that I don't have to get up early tomorrow because it's my birthday and I have the day off. I think tomorrow I'm going to go to the library to pick up some audiobooks I have on hold. Exciting. But there's a really nice cafe near the library, so Damien has the day off as well, so I think we're going to go and have a nice lunch together, which will be fun. And then I'll just, who knows what I do for the rest of the day? Knit. Knitting will be a huge priority for me tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous day, whatever you are doing currently. Have a lovely week, have a lovely fortnight till we see each other, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.